Good morning, children. The topic for discussion today is why do people migrate? Now, there could be a number of reasons why people migrate. The reasons could be economic or they could be political, but the underlying idea why people migrate is desire for change and the idea of a new life. So, these are the two main reasons why people migrate. Now, in many cases of migration, there are various factors which induce people to move. The factors which force people to leave a place, such factors are called push factors, and the factors which attract people to move to a new place, they are called the pull factors. So, we will read about the push factors now. Now, as you can see in your book, the first factor which is mentioned is lack of job opportunities in one's own country. That is one of the main push factors which forces people to leave one's country. Like in our country, there is a lot of unemployment. So many people, they go to other countries to seek employment. Then another push factor could be war. Now, in case there is a war going on, there is a lot of insecurity, and so people, they generally move to other countries as refugees. Like recently there was a war going on in Syria, so many people from Syria migrated to neighboring countries like Turkey. So that could be another push factor which causes movement of people. Then other push factors could be scarcity of food and essentials. Now this could be due to famines in a country or due to political instability, and they've given an example in your book that people from Venezuela, they migrated to the neighboring countries in the year 2016 because there was food scarcity in the country. And also people from Greece, they also migrated to other countries in the year 2015 due to severe food shortage. Now another push factor could be the natural disasters. Now people from Nepal, they migrated in the year 2015 to other countries because there was a very intense earthquake and it caused a lot of devastation in Nepal. So this forced people from Nepal to migrate to India. Then already we have read that lack of job opportunities is a very big push factor. So because of this lack of job opportunities, many people within the country also migrate, like people from Bihar and Jharkhand and West Bengal. These are the states where the population is very dense. So here people are migrating to nearby states to find work. So they migrate to states like Punjab, Haryana, and they also migrate to places like Delhi in search of better job opportunities. And also sometimes when there is not much work in their own state, they also get work in the other states in the agricultural sector. Like in Punjab and Haryana, a lot of labor is employed from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Some of these people who migrate to other states work as household help also, domestic household help. Like in our houses, most of the maids that we employ, they are coming from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. And what is the reason? Because when they migrate to other states, they get better income. So that is the main factor which forces these people to move out. And so this improves their living condition. Then some of the unemployed city dwellers, they move to other countries also. Like many people from India, they migrate to Canada, to USA as they are unemployed within the country. So they've given example in your book of people from India and Pakistan. People from India and Pakistan migrating to countries abroad. Because they get higher wages in other countries. So these are some push factors. Then another push factor could be lack of availability of land within the particular state or within the particular village. So either it could be lack of availability of land, or it could be shortage of fertile land. Or it could be that the quality of land has deteriorated, so people have to move to another place. So this is also a push factor. So due to the lack of availability of land, or due to the poor quality of land, the farmers might become poor. So in such cases also they migrate to other places where they can find work, or where they can find better land which is more fertile, which they can cultivate. Like example is given, many people, that is the many Europeans, they migrated to new places, like they migrated to USA, Australia, and they migrated to South Africa to find better farmlands and larger plots. So this was the main reason why people migrated to these new areas, so that they could get better farmlands and larger plots for cultivation. Then another push factor could be lack of religious tolerance. So where people of a certain religion are not tolerated, and they are treated cruelly within the country, or a particular sect of the religion is not tolerated, so then people migrate in order to escape repression. Okay, so they migrate. What is repression? Being coerced by the government. Okay, so being controlled and being oppressed by the government. Now this is what happens in certain cases, especially in those countries where there is no equality of religion. Some religions are treated better than the other religions. They are considered superior than the other religions. So in that case, people of the minority community, they generally migrate. An example is the people from the movement of Jews to Israel. Now that this occurred because the Jews were not treated well in other places. And also during the partition between India and Pakistan, people moved. There was migration between India and Pakistan. Most of the Muslims, they moved to Pakistan, and most of the Hindus, they moved to India. Now this is again because of religious tolerance. There was communal violence, and that was the reason why people migrated from India to Pakistan and Pakistan to India. Then another push factor could be lack of political freedom. Now when people lack political freedom, and we have an authoritarian government, okay, or there is martial law, or there is dictatorship, in that case also people are forced to move out of their country. So, and this happens usually during the wars. People are forced to migrate. They leave the country because to avoid subjection to a new regime. If they don't want to follow the new regime, or if they are being coerced, so they generally migrate. Then there are pull factors. As I told you, what are pull factors? They are the reasons why people are attracted to a new place. The reason or the factor that makes the new place more attractive to people, that is called pull factor. Okay, so this definition is to be learnt. Then there are many pull factors. First one is job opportunities in the new country. they are more attractive, or there are more job opportunities in the new country. Like people, they migrate to Canada and Australia from India because they get better job opportunities in these countries. Then even the level of education is better in some of these countries. So many students, they leave India to go abroad and they study there. Then also another pull factor could be better availability of medical facilities. Better medical facilities are available in that country. Then another factor could be availability of job opportunities. This is actually a major pull factor. So people from India, they migrate to Gulf countries to find jobs. Then moving further, and not only do they get better jobs there, they get better salaries, their standard of living improves, they get a better quality life. So that is also another reason why people move. And many of the IT experts from India, they have migrated to US because of better job opportunities, higher salaries, better life in these countries. Okay, the next factor is education. So many people, they leave their own country for educational reasons, because education in some of these countries is of superior quality. So because of the superior quality education, which provides them better career prospects and increased income, makes people go abroad to study. Many students from Asia, they move to UK and they move to Australia for further studies. Okay, then the next factor is medical care. So better medical care, superior medical care is another pull factor. And people migrate to cities with bigger hospitals and hospitals which have all kinds of medical experts, and they have technically more sound medical systems. So this also attracts people, that many people from small towns, they migrate to Delhi for medical treatment, for medical care, because in Delhi the hospitals, they have very superior medical facilities. Then people are also attracted by wealth. So when they come to know that a particular region has a large amount of gold, or it has a large amount of diamonds, people migrate, people are drawn to such areas. Or when they come to know that there is a lot of oil available, like most of the people in the Persian countries, in the Gulf countries, they have migrated to these Gulf countries because there is lots of oil. So these Gulf countries are very rich. So most of the Indians, they go to these Gulf countries to get employment, because they are paid very well, as these countries are very rich. So they've given an example here that Central Australia, Central and South America and South Africa gained population partly because of its gold mines. So these gold mines were the major pull factor to attract people from other countries. Then another factor would be conducive environment. So sometimes when the environment is very conducive, maybe the climate of that place is pleasant and attractive. Okay, of the new place I'm talking about, it's pleasant and attractive. So people generally would like to go and live in such a place. Like most of the coastal cities in India, they are heavily populated, like Mumbai, like Chennai, like Kolkata, because these are coastal areas and there is no winter. The winter is not very severe in these regions. So many people have migrated from other states to these cities. So this is another reason why migration occurs. Then another reason or another pull factor is family connections. So what happens is that generally when some members of a family, they migrate to a new place, so they want their family members also to join them. So This gives them a sense of security. So sometimes the entire family migrates to a new place. Then coming to the next topic, that is impact of migration. Now migration can affect both the destination country as well as the home country. Now let me first explain to you the meaning of these terms, destination country and home country. Destination country is the country where you go, the migrants go, that is the destination country. And the country from where the migrants have gone, or the country which they have left, that is said to be the home country. So there are both positive as well as negative impacts of migration. Now first we discuss the positive impacts of migration on the destination country. So the first positive impact on the destination country, or the country to which the people have migrated. The first positive impact is the availability of cheap labor. When many migrants are willing to go to a destination country and work there for a lower wage, so this makes cheap labor available when they are ready to, and mostly the unskilled people, they are ready to take up unskilled jobs for lower wages. Okay, so many Indians, they go to these Gulf countries, UAE and Saudi Arabia, and they work there for lower wages. So for that country to which these people have migrated, it becomes an advantage because for their country cheap labor is available. Then also these migrants, some of these are technically skilled. So a lot of technical and skilled labor is also available to these destination countries. So for example, like in Silicon Valley in USA, lots of technicians, lots of engineers and IT experts from India and China, they have migrated and they have settled there. So the Silicon Valley has the best of IT experts because of this reason. Then another thing that happens, another positive impact of migration on the destination country is that it leads to cultural diversity. People from different cultures, diverse cultures and traditions, they arrive in a new country, and when they do so, there is sharing of cultures, sharing of knowledge, and it also removes racism and it also removes discrimination. Okay, so when people from Germany, they migrated to Canada, they have introduced their food, their cuisine, and also their religion, that is Protestantism. Okay, so it's kind of a tongue twister here. So migration also has some positive impact on the home country. So what is the positive impact of migration on the home country? Let us study that. Now, what is the first impact? When many people leave the country to work abroad, the scope of employment increases as more jobs are available to the people who are left behind. So that increases the scope of employment. Then the second point is when migrants return home, they bring back knowledge, skills and new ideas, and with these they start their own business, and when they do so, they provide job opportunities to others. Like many people in Kerala who had migrated, when they returned, they provided job opportunities to others. They opened their own businesses, restaurants, shopping malls, schools. So they generated a lot of employment. And then migrants working abroad, they also send money back home to support their families. So the country gains a lot of foreign exchange. This money is called remittances, so which helps the government of the home country indirectly. Then not only does migration have positive impacts, it also has negative impacts. So first we are going to study the negative impact of migration on the destination country. Okay, first is there is job loss. So many migrants entering a new country rob the job opportunities of the local people because they are ready to work for a lower pay. So the local people, they feel threatened. Many people in US, they have a grudge against the migrants which are coming from Southeast Asia and South Asia. So that is why there are so many hate crimes occurring in US, because these people, the local people, do not like the migrants, as the migrants are ready to work at lower wages. So this is a very big problem. Then another negative impact is that social and civic pressure develops as migrants entering a new country put pressure on the existing infrastructure. So the resources are now being shared by more number of people. So this puts a pressure on the existing infrastructure, health and educational facilities meant for the local people. And the prices of such amenities they shoot up. They cause hardships to all. Okay. Then what else happens because of this? Immigration can fuel racism and discrimination. Immigrants are often considered different because they speak differently, they dress up differently. So they are generally singled out. They are discriminated against because they have a different way of speaking, talking and dressing up. So there is a lot of discrimination felt by the migrants. Then local traditions and cultures are generally affected because of introduction of new or alien cultures. Many people from West Asia and Southeast Asia, they feel discriminated against because of their dressing, their habits, their religious practices. Then coming to the impact, that is the negative impacts of migration on the migrants' home country. Now, first of all, what happens is that when many skilled people, they leave the country, there is loss of skilled labor within the country. So this is a major disadvantage, as young and talented people who are very skillful, who are knowledgeable and they are professionally sound, they are leaving the home country, and so they rob the country of their services. Then the businesses flourish only when there is an increase in demand, but when many people, they leave the country, the demand will be less because there will be less number of buyers within the country. So the demand will fall. There will be a shortage of demand for goods and services. So businesses will not flourish. Then next negative impact is a major socio-economic impact of migration is the toll that it takes on the family life. Now sometimes young parents, they leave their children, and also sometimes they leave their elderly people or their elders behind. So these people, they feel traumatized. The children and elders, they need their support, they are left behind. So there are deep psychological scars. Family members are separated because of this. Okay, so they keep missing their parents and there is nobody to tell them what is right or wrong. So the children get exposed to social vices, all the wrong things that are happening in the society. And also they feel the absence of love and care because the parents have left them. And the elderly also feel neglected because there is nobody to take care of them. So these are some problems. Then we move on to the new topic, which is brain drain. Now, this is a very important topic. Now, what is brain drain? Now, brain drain is a term that refers to a situation when highly qualified and trained people leave their country to work and settle permanently in another country that offers them better job opportunities and lifestyle. It is also called human capital flight. So, things that you have to remember is not just anybody leaving the country is called brain drain. It's only when the highly qualified and trained people, they leave the country to work and settle permanently in another country that offers them better job opportunities. So, this is called brain drain or human capital flight. Next, what are the causes? So, in case of causes, both push factors as well as pull factors are involved. Examples of push factors that cause brain drain are, they could be economic factors, or mainly economic factors are responsible for brain drain. For example, the inability to find suitably paying jobs within the country. And second reason could be poverty and no prospect of improving one's standard of living. Another factor could be political instability that causes uncertainty. And another factor could be political favoritism and religious and social discrimination. So, there are about 5 such factors. These are the main factors or the push factors which are responsible for brain drain. Then there are a number of pull factors also which are responsible for brain drain, and these pull factors are higher income in the destination country, more comfortable lifestyle there, and better economic prospects for people, better educational opportunities including training and research, and greater chances of promotion without partiality and discrimination. Then another point could be a liberal and stable government. And other factors could be better working conditions and medical facilities. So, there are 8 such pull factors. So, you can number them as I have numbered them here. So, these factors are responsible for brain drain. Then we have this under this topic discuss that a large number of Indian engineers and qualified people, they migrate to US and other countries. And do you think this brain drain is affecting the economic growth of India? Yes, definitely it is affecting the economic growth of India, because the people with the best of talent, they are leaving the country. So, the country lacks talent. Okay, so there are not many innovations taking place within the country, not many inventions are being made in the country, not much research is being carried out in the country, because the geniuses, the best of brains have migrated to another country, and because of that there is slow economic growth in the country. Then coming to what is the impact or what are the consequences or what is the result of this brain drain. Now, there can be both positive as well as negative impacts on the societies due to brain drain. So, let us study both the impacts, negative as well as positive. First, we study the positive impacts. The first positive impact is better employment opportunities for educated and skilled workers that may not be available in their own country. So, now this is a positive impact for the people who have left their country. So, these people, they get better employment opportunities and better education facilities in the destination country. Then migrants country will prosper more. Why? Because they bring foreign exchange to their own country, right? Then migrants returning home will invest in the businesses, in their own businesses. So they will provide employment to people and also will lead to development. And then there will be greater technology transfer, because these people, they get educated abroad, so they know about the latest technology. So there will be greater technology transfer, greater investment and capital brought back by the diaspora. So these people who have moved to another country, they are going to learn the latest, they're going to learn about the latest developments, latest innovations and the latest technology use. So they are going to bring back this knowledge to their own country, and this will further lead to the development of their home country. And such people, such group of people who have moved from their own country and they have settled abroad, they are called the diaspora. So another term to learn, please note this term and learn the definition. Then not only does it have positive impacts, brain drain also has negative impacts. Now the negative impacts are as follows. First of all, when these people, they leave the country, there is a net decrease in the country of people with professional and technical qualifications. So such people who are technically and professionally sound, there is a scarcity of such people within the home country. Then there is reduction of qualified and technical people, and this will impact the development and the growth of the nation. It has a negative impact on the development and growth of the nation. Then thirdly, the remittances, the money that these people send back, this money might taper off, means the amount might be reduced in case there is a price rise in the destination country. So less remittances, less money will be sent back by these people to their home country. Then reduced quality of essential services within the country, because essential services like health and education will be reduced in the migrant's own country. So the best of doctors, the best of engineers and the best of educators, when they move to another country, so within the country, the quality of these essential services will be reduced. Then government and private scholarship to study abroad will cause a drainage of talent and skills in the country. So when the government is promoting this, it's providing scholarships to people to go abroad and study abroad. So it's going to cause drainage of talent and skills in the country, because these people who will be trained abroad, they will not come back, because what will they do? They will find better opportunities in the destination countries or the countries abroad. So they might not come back. So there will be a drainage of talent and skills within the country. Then another impact could be that when the migrants, they return home with plenty of money, there will be vast disparity between the income of the local and the migrants. So when these migrants come back after some time and they invest their money, so there will be a lot of gap, a lot of difference between the income of the local people and the migrants. And these people, the local people, might feel bitter towards the migrants. Okay, there might be a feeling of hatred towards these people who have come back to their own country after earning a lot of money abroad. So these are a few points which tell you that brain drain not only has positive impact, it also has negative impact. So this is about the chapter migration. Thank you, children.